Well, that's something. This is my review of the live-action remake of Aladdin. I thought it was okay. It's not terrible, as the trailers led you to believe. It's not great, but it's okay. Because as live-action Disney remakes go, this is probably the best it could get, but then again, that could change with Lion King, or others that are coming up, like Maleficent 2, which I highly doubt. But I thought it was good. It's not as bad as the trailers portray it to be. But yeah, I want to share my experience with Aladdin. Aside from Fantasia, this is probably like my favorite Disney film. And I really like a lot of Disney films. I like Little Mermaid, I like Beauty and the Beast, I like all those other ones. But I really love Aladdin. For many reasons. One, because of the chemistry between its two leads. Jasmine and Aladdin do feel believable with one another. The animation, of course, is really good. The musical numbers are, of course, incredible. The imagination is really great. And, of course, there's Robin Williams as the genie. He brought a lot to that film. And with this, it is very interesting because this was a film production that sort of had a rocky start because when it was announced that Guy Ritchie would be directing and co-writing a remake of Aladdin, it seemed a bit weird. And then they announced that Will Smith would be playing the genie, and then eventually over time, the actors who played Aladdin, Jasmine, Jafar, and all those other guys were announced. But, yeah. It really didn't inspire a lot of hope in people, and the trailers definitely were not selling it all that well. I still remember when, during the Grammys, that special look teaser ended up coming out. People hated it because they did not like the way the genie looked. Although, this is very interesting because when they first revealed what he would look like in the guise of a human, he's just playing Will Smith with sort of like a fez or something, I don't know. And they were complaining, it's like, oh, this isn't the genie, he's not blue or whatever. And then when they actually do show the blue genie, it's like, oh god, this looks terrible. Give us the other Will Smith genie. Give us the other version of the genie. It's like, just no way to please you people at all. But yeah, I did think it was actually a very enjoyable time. I definitely went in with low expectations, and I can definitely say I was pleasantly surprised. It's not as bad as a lot of people are making it out to be, I will say this. Like, I'm pretty sure Chris Stuckman, who's one of the YouTubers I watch, I'm pretty sure he gave this a C-. I'm like, okay, I can understand people not liking this movie, but a C-? That's as bad as Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, because you gave those the same grade. Disney's remake of Aladdin? Really, Chris? Are you sure that's what you're going to give it? But, whatever, it's his opinion, I can't change it. So, what's the story? It's Aladdin. It's the basic premise. A street rat ends up finding a magical lamp that has a genie, and he uses the genie to try and help win over the love of a princess. Simple. But I'm going to pretty much run over the stuff that I liked and the stuff that I didn't like. First, the good. I liked the cast. I liked the actor who played Aladdin. I thought he was really good. I really liked Naomi Scott as Jasmine. I really liked sort of the additions that they sort of gave to her in this film. And how I really liked that little new musical number that they gave her speeches. I thought that was actually really good too. And probably the best part of this movie is Will Smith as the genie. I mean, what many people expect to be the weakest link is the best part of the film. Will Smith is great as the genie. He doesn't try and copy the Robin Williams genie. He essentially tries to give his own interpretation of the genie and pretty much just play Will Smith, except he's blue. I thought Will Smith, he's Will Smith. He's really cool. And even in bad movies like Suicide Squad, I did really like Will Smith in that because that guy's got a lot of charm and charisma, and I really did like. Number two, something else that I really liked. The sets and the costumes were amazing. Props to whoever did these because these were absolutely incredible because it's kind of obvious the fact that these are sets, but I really did like them, and I really did like the costumes because the costume designers and the set builders are sort of the unsung heroes of the movies. And I really appreciated the work that these costume designers and these people gave to it. Next, what else did I like? The musical numbers were really good. I mean, it's Aladdin, so it makes sense. If I had to pick the best one out of all of them, I think it might be either Friend Like Me or Prince Ali. Those were both really, really, really good. And, you know, it's Aladdin, so the music is great. And the visuals that complement these scenes go very well. Now the bad. The characterization of Jafar. I can understand about how some people can like it, but thing is, this actor's probably been in a lot of better stuff. I just didn't agree with the way he was sort of portrayed. That was the one element that I kind of felt like didn't really work. Two, this is the sort of the big problem that I have with this movie and a lot of other Disney live action remakes. It just sort of feels like that this just might be a cash grab on the original. Like, what was the purpose of this movie even existing to begin with? I mean, I'm pretty sure I saw an article that said, like, Walt Disney had in his will or something that every 10 to 15 to 10 to 20 years or something that any movie that's made from Disney can be able to be remade so that way a whole new generation can be able to experience it or whatever. I can kind of get that, but it just sort of feels like the Disney sort of running on creative fumes at this point. I really didn't feel like it added too much to the original because the original, it's about 90 minutes. It's tightly paced. It's well done. This is 2 hours and 8 minutes. I ended up seeing a late night showing of this. It was at 7:35, and I didn't get out until around 10 o'clock. And you can sort of tell when stuff has been added in so that way they can sort of be able to add to the runtime and all the other stuff. But yeah, I can't fully give it a perfect grade or high grade because of that. Is it a bad movie? By no means. Not at all. It just sort of feels like that when you compare it to the original, it sort of feels weak. The best way that you could be able to see this is look at it as its own thing. Don't try and compare it too much to the original because we all know that the original is going to be better. Just view it as its own thing. It has its own thing. It's actually not all that bad. And to be honest, this was probably the only movie that I actually could see and give a review for this week because the other options were Booksmart, a raunchy, R-rated comedy, which is essentially the female version of Superbad, and Brightburn, which is essentially a Superman horror movie. I wanted to be able to do a review of that, but my mom isn't too big on horror films because when she was younger, she was forced to see a lot of traumatizing stuff like the Friday the 13th films and Nightmare on Elm Street and all the other stuff. So she's not a big fan of horror films, unlike myself. I really want to do a review on Brightburn, but I might be able to. It might take some convincing, but I might be able to do it. But don't quote me on that. So yeah. So if I had to give Aladdin a score, I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. It is perfectly okay. I'd recommend it. It just sort of feels like it really shouldn't exist for any other purpose than just sort of making money off your nostalgia. But as its own thing, it's perfectly fine. I thought it was okay. Next week is going to be very interesting because there's two movies that I really want to be able to see that week. Godzilla King of the Monsters and Rocket Man. The Rocket Man being the Elton John biopic. And I'm thinking, okay, if I had to do a review of one, which one would I do? I'm still trying to be able to figure that out right now. I might be able to see both. I might be able to give reviews on both. But then again, I might not be able to. I don't know. I have a lot of time on my hands now because as of the time of me recording this, I'm currently on summer vacation right now. I just got out of school. So that means I could be able to work on more videos and all the other stuff. But yeah, I just don't know if I'm going to be able to review Godzilla or Rocket Man. I really hope I can. But I might not be able to. I might try and see if I can be able to work the time to see them. But, yeah. My review of Aladdin. Good. Not great. I'd recommend. It's good. I'd recommend it. But, yeah. So, that's my video. As always, stay gold.